Join me as I read Chapter 3 from Picking Up the Pieces to 100 Broken Promises by Yushima Burks. The title of this chapter is Experience, Forgiveness, and Growth. You guys, go ahead and subscribe and hit that notification bell. Let's get started. And you guys, be sure to check out the playlist chapters on my YouTube channel where I have a panel of special guests come on and discuss their personal experiences with everything that I discuss in my book. And Chapter 3, our special guest Stephanie is here, my ex-roommate, and she gave her point of view from that experience. Chapter 3, Experience, Forgiveness, Growth. And consider it Yushima. In my early 20s, I met the sweetest person ever at work. I worked at a pharmaceutical company in the customer service department. She was about 4'8" and cute as a button. She was a few years older than me, but we had so much in common. We both had daughters. We both wanted to move to a better place. We both were newly single. Perfect roommate material. Up until this point, I had never had a roommate. I always lived on my own, with my daughter or my daughter and my ex. My 3-year plan was up, and I was ready to move out of public housing, or what we call the projects. We made the plans, paid our deposits, and moved in. Things were going well. We cooked for each other. We shared our food, and our daughters got along great. It was a good situation to be in. We had our differences, different religious beliefs. She was a Buddhist and I was a Christian. Actually, she was probably more faithful to her God than I was mine. The chanting was weird for me, and I did feel a presence there that was not God, but other than that, I really enjoyed Stephanie. She was fun and outgoing. She danced and laughed with her mouth open just like me. Inevitably, we had begun dating guys. We were 2 fine young women, and we had begun dating friends. Her new beau happened to be married to a childhood friend of mine. We grew up in a church together, but I had never met her husband. We saw each other every Sabbath at church. Months later, I found out, but I can't remember how. I think it was through her saying my name to him, though. I have a very unusual middle name, Kamoy. Maybe I saw a picture of them together. Either way it came out. I had a decision to make. Of course, I spoke to my roommate after pleading with him to tell her himself. I gave him a certain amount of time to do it before I told her. I didn't want to tell his wife and destroy a marriage before giving them an opportunity to make it right. My dear friend Stephanie was fresh out of a divorce, and she felt like his adulterous behavior should not stop her fun. She eventually confronted him, but the affair lasted for a while. We talked about it. I knew at times she felt bad since she had been cheated on by her husband. I know what it's like to be comforted by more pain. I was young and unmarried, so I didn't feel like my opinion was that important. It really put me in an awkward position. Later, when my childhood friend Judy found out, we talked about it. I'm glad that she did not hold it against me because I did not have control over that grown man's behavior. Judy then told me that my new boo was engaged to be married. He tried it, but I couldn't deal with that. After that dating fiasco, I met someone new. His name was Raymond. He was mature, had a great job, and loved his mother and his kids. He was older than me. We had so much fun together. Eventually, I wanted to spend more time with him. He came over just about every day. Stephanie was incredibly patient with me, but at that time, I didn't appreciate it. I was being selfish. He was there a lot. I didn't consider her, and I justified it by making him come by later when the kids were asleep. I should not have had him in that house, but that much regardless. I could have spent more time in his place. There are a ton of things that I could have done differently, like kept it simple instead of immersing myself into his world. When my selfishness started to cause conflict, I told Stephanie that I wanted to break my lease 6 months early. I was ready to move out because I was in love and Raymond and I were getting married. I wish he would have just punched me in the face to wake me up right then. We came to a compromise so I could move out, but our friendship was never the same. This story is so embarrassing to me because I was so immature and selfish in this matter. Stephanie was a saint. I don't know how she put up with me. A few years ago, I unpacked a bin that I've had for years, and I found her handheld blow dryer that she loaned me in it. I was the worst. I haven't spoken to her in years. Stephanie and I were in touch via social media years ago, but I took a hiatus from it and we lost touch. I wonder if I was her last roommate. I wish her well and I hope she forgives me for being such a brat. Sorry again, Stephanie. I'm so glad God has matured me and has given me wisdom to be a better person and a better friend. I hope I live up to what is expected from a good friend with my girls now. His promise, for wisdom is more precious than rubies, and nothing you desire can compare with her. Proverbs 8:11. My promise is I promise to be mindful of others. The good news is Stephanie and I have reconnected since I wrote this book. I reached out to her and asked her to do an interview with me. I will place the link in the description and I might also put an iCard in here. But Stephanie actually had a chance to give her side of the story from her perspective. It was very enlightening for me. It is in a video format, so check it out. It's hilarious. And we have very different points of view.